Stoic Sociopath. What if you used Stoicism to stop feeling anything? What if you could build the perfect emotionless mind? It's a tempting thought, isn't it? To construct an internal fortress so tough that the chaos of the world, the failures, the anxieties, the heartbreaks, could never get to you. You've seen the quotes, you've heard the podcasts. You've been told that Stoicism is the key to becoming invincible, the ultimate tool to finally silence the noise and stop feeling the pain of a messy, unpredictable world. But what if that promise is a lie? What if, in your mission to feel nothing, you accidentally tear down the very thing that makes you human? What happens when that fortress becomes a prison and the silence you wanted turns into a terrifying, empty void? This is a story about a dangerous misunderstanding. It's a journey into the dark side of a philosophy that promises peace but, when twisted, can lead to a profound and lonely numbness. This is what happens when you use Stoicism not to master your emotions, but to execute them one by one. The seductive promise. Let's be real, the appeal is massive. We live in an age of emotional overload. Our phones are buzzing with outrage and our screens flicker with picture-perfect lives and manufactured despair. We're constantly pulled around by feelings, our own and everyone else's. Be passionate but not too emotional. Be empathetic but have strong boundaries. Be vulnerable but be resilient. It's exhausting. All that emotional whiplash can leave you feeling raw and just desperate for an off switch. And then you stumble upon what you think is Stoicism, or more accurately, the modern pop culture caricature of it. This version sells a simple, powerful solution. Emotions are the problem. They're irrational, messy weaknesses that cloud your judgment and lead to suffering. Get rid of them and you'll be free. You'll be unshakable, unbreakable. This is the promise that grabs our protagonist. Let's call him Alex. Alex isn't a bad guy. He's just tired. Tired of the anxiety that twists his stomach before a presentation. Tired of the sting of criticism, the frustration of traffic, the simmering disappointment when life just doesn't go to plan. He feels like a ship tossed on a stormy sea, and he sees this version of Stoicism as the ultimate anchor. He reads a quote from Epictetus. It's not things that upset us, but our judgment of things. And here's a command, just judge nothing, and you'll feel nothing. He sees photos of stone-faced Roman statues and mistakes their marble stillness for something to aspire to. He thinks the goal is to become the statue, perfect, impervious, and cold. It isn't just about peace. It's about power. The power to be completely unaffected. To walk through life's fire without getting burned. So, he decides to become the architect of his own mind, to systematically dismantle the flawed, emotional person he is and rebuild a perfect, rational, and invulnerable self. He thinks he's starting a journey of self-mastery, but what he's actually starting is a slow descent into becoming a stranger to himself and everyone he loves. He's taking the first step toward becoming a Stoic sociopath. The descent, the architect of emptiness. At first, Alex's project feels like a huge success. He starts small. The barista messes up his coffee. Instead of the usual flash of irritation, he tells himself, "This is an external. It has no power over me." He feels a satisfying click in his brain. The annoyance vanishes. It feels like a superpower. A coworker takes credit for his idea. The old Alex would have been furious, replaying it for hours. The new Alex simply observes the anger, labels it an unhelpful passion, and calmly disconnects. It's irrational, he tells himself, to be upset by things outside of his control. He feels a cool sense of detachment. He isn't suppressing his anger, he thinks. He's transcending it. This is control. This is strength. He gets really good at this. Road rage, an illogical response. Flight delay, a chance to practice indifference. He's building his fortress brick by brick, and with each one he feels more in control. He's meticulously pruning the weeds in his emotional garden, leaving only the pristine flower beds of pure reason. But soon he turns his shears on the flowers too. His best friend calls, ecstatic about a promotion. Alex hears the messy, bubbling joy in his friend's voice and feels a flicker of happiness for him. But then the programming kicks in. Happiness based on an external is fragile, he thinks. So instead of celebrating, he offers a calm, "That is good. Your efforts were recognized." The line goes quiet. His friend was looking for a high five and got a lab report. The connection sputters. This is where the real danger starts. Misusing Stoic ideas leads to emotional suppression, actively ignoring your feelings to avoid discomfort. This isn't resilience, it's just avoidance. Then comes a family gathering. His sister is heartbroken over a breakup. The family is surrounding her, offering hugs, creating a messy, beautiful human tapestry of empathy. Alex watches from the doorway like an anthropologist observing a strange ritual. He feels nothing. He sees her tears not as pain, but as a rational failure. He walks over, puts a hand on her shoulder, and says, "He was never in your control. Your suffering comes from your attachment." He genuinely thinks he's offering deep wisdom, but to his sister, his words are a cold dismissal of her pain. She pulls away, looking at him like he's a stranger. He offered logic to a wound that needed love. In his quest to be invulnerable, he has forgotten how to be kind. The tool he used to protect himself is now severing the very tethers that bind him to others. The final stage feels like victory. He's done it. He has the perfect emotionless mind. Criticism doesn't sting. Bad news doesn't cause anxiety. Insults slide right off him. But his wife tells him she misses him, even when he's right there. She says talking to him is like talking to a wall. He processes her words as data but feels no sadness, no defensiveness, no urge to understand her pain. He's lost the ability to connect. He no longer feels the joy of a sunny day, the warmth of his wife's hand, or grief when an old mentor passes away. It's just a fact. There is no joy, no sadness, no love, no grief, just a vast, gray, peaceful emptiness. He's standing safely on the shore, watching the river of his life flow by, just like he wanted. But he forgot the point of watching the river was to learn how to navigate it, not to die of thirst on the bank. The fortress is complete. He is safe, and he is utterly alone. The climax, the ghost in the mirror. The moment of truth isn't a loud explosion. It's a quiet, chilling whisper. It happens on a normal Tuesday at the park. He and his wife are watching a little kid fall off a swing. The child lets out a piercing wail of pure shock and pain. The father rushes over, scoops the kid up, and murmurs words of comfort. Alex watches the scene with his usual placid detachment. He analyzes it. Minor fall, exaggerated emotional response, predictable parental comfort ritual. He feels nothing. But his wife gasps. She puts a hand to her chest in a flash of empathy. She turns to him, a look of shared concern on her face, and then it dies. She sees his face, blank, unmoved, the face of a spectator, not a fellow human. And in her eyes, Alex sees himself. He sees a ghost, a hollow man. In that instant, the whole fortress crumbles. He sees the scene again, but not through his cold, rational filter. He sees it through the memory of who he used to be. He remembers the sting of a scraped knee. He remembers crying for a parent. He remembers the feeling of being held and told it would be okay. He remembers empathy. He remembers love, and he realizes, with a sickening lurch that is the first real thing he's felt in years, that he doesn't have any of it anymore. He didn't conquer his emotions. He annihilated them. He didn't build a fortress. He built a tomb. The peace he has is the peace of the void. In his attempt to become a Stoic master, he became something else. A sociopath in principle, if not in action. A man who surgically removed his own soul because he thought it was a disease. The silence in his head is no longer peaceful. It's the sound of his own humanity suffocating. The correction. Rebuilding the self. Alex's story is a cautionary tale, and it's a path a lot of people wander down because they've been sold a broken version of Stoicism. So let's be crystal clear. Real Stoicism, the philosophy of Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, has never been about becoming an emotionless robot. The fatal flaw is confusing emotional suppression with emotional regulation. What Alex practiced was suppression. He took his feelings, called them bad, and shoved them in a mental basement. But suppression is psychologically dangerous. It's like holding a beach ball underwater. It takes constant effort, and the second you lose focus, it doesn't just surface. It explodes out of the water with even more force. True Stoicism teaches regulation. The goal isn't to not feel. It's to feel everything, but not be owned by your feelings. It's about creating a tiny space between a feeling and your reaction. In that space, you have the power to choose wisdom. True Stoic detachment isn't about checking out from life. It's about engaging with it from a place of inner strength. It's the difference between being a leaf blown around by the wind and being a deeply rooted tree that can feel the wind and bend with it, but never break. A true Stoic practitioner sees a flash of anger and thinks, "Ah, anger, a signal. What's it telling me? Is a boundary being crossed? Is this feeling useful, or is it based on a bad judgment?" They observe their emotions without being consumed by them. The pop stoicism that tells you to be an unfeeling rock is a modern invention, a broified caricature that misses the entire point. The ancient Stoics weren't cold people. Seneca wrote beautifully about grieving his own losses. Marcus Aurelius wrote about his love for his family and his own frustrations. They were deeply human. Their strength came not from an absence of feeling, but from the courage to face all of it without being destroyed. True courage is allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to feel loss, joy, and love, and to meet those feelings with wisdom and grace. The point isn't to ignore your emotions, it's to focus on what you can control, which is your considered response to them. Stoicism isn't a tool for numbness, it's a training system for emotional resilience. It doesn't teach you to empty yourself, it teaches you how to be whole, even when you're hurting. So how do you avoid the Stoic Sociopath trap? It starts by redefining strength. Strength is not the absence of feeling. A desert is empty, but we don't call it strong, we call it barren. True strength is integrating our whole selves, our reason and our emotion. It's the ability to walk through fire, feel the heat, and use your wisdom as a shield, not to put the fire out, but to keep it from consuming you. Alex's journey from a man overwhelmed by feeling to a man terrified by his lack of it holds the key lesson. He wanted to be invulnerable and found only emptiness. He craved silence and got a desolate void. He mistook numbness for peace. That is the danger of a philosophy misunderstood. Real Stoicism doesn't offer an escape from being human. It offers something better. A guide to navigating the mess with courage and wisdom. It doesn't ask you to kill your emotions. It asks you to understand them. It doesn't ask you to build a fortress to hide from the world. It asks you to build the inner character to engage with it, fully and completely. The goal was never to stop feeling. The goal was, and always has been, to stop being a slave to what you feel, and become the master of how you choose to respond. So, I'll leave you with this. Are you using the principles in your life to build walls or to build bridges? Bridges to a deeper understanding of yourself, and bridges to a more meaningful connection with others. Because a fortress protects, but it also imprisons. And a life without feeling isn't a life of peace. It's barely a life at all. If this story resonated with you, or if you've navigated this line between healthy detachment and numbness, share your thoughts in the comments. It's a complex idea, and we all learn by hearing from each other. And of course, if you found this valuable, a like and subscribe is always appreciated. Thanks for watching.